All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world of ours. We have people from all over the world today, from Australia, from the USA, from Thailand. That would be me. So I'm going to unmute you guys. As always, if there's a bunch of noise in the background. Let's see somebody's echoing. Hey, I think it probably is you, Barbara. Can you do you have a headset that you could put on? And Jamie, Jamie.
Yeah.
I think, and Jamie, if you could do me a favor, if you could have somebody mute yourself. You got an awful lot of noise going on in the background there. Massive noise going on back there. Either that or else I got to mute you. Okay. I can't tell now. I've got to. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Excellent. Okay, well, that means you guys can actually hear me too, which is kind of cool. Okay. So I guess that's you, Barbara, moving a few things around, right? Okay. Normally, you guys, when we do in any of our sessions, we do keep the mics open so that way everybody can have a discussion and participate. And when that happens, it means that you guys need to be quiet. If you're gonna make noise in the background, I just ask that everybody mute themselves so that we don't mess up the recording for everybody else listening or watching later on. So that's that. Okay. So let me see what we got going on here. All right, excellent. We'll be having more people joining us as we go through today. It is now 4:02 a.m. here in Bangkok. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, 2014, which means it is still evening for you guys in North America. It's Tuesday, May 20th, for those of you in North America. So I can tell you right now that when you wake up tomorrow morning, those of you in America, you will find that it is actually going to be, at least if you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, as I am, it is dark but beautiful. So you are in store for a dark but beautiful early morning tomorrow, just in case you wanted to know what your future brings. So today, I'm going to do something special for you guys. We're starting a whole new way of doing things here within our strategic implementation sessions, formerly our Pathfinder program, formerly our strategic implementation sessions, and that is we're going to actually be doing what we call compass seats or compass sessions. Compass sessions are primarily going to be worked with members of our Trailblazer group. Trailblazers meet weekly, and that's our high level or higher level rather coaching program. And today, Barbara Gaffney is going to be with us, and we're going to go through her business and her pipeline from soup to nuts or nuts to soup. And let me just get something organized here so we can do that. We're going to really go from ground level all the way up to to the top, and where we can help her build her business. Everyone is eligible to be in in one of these. I used to call them hot seats. We're calling them compass sessions right now. But so everyone is available. That you just have to book that in advance, and then we're good to go. So. With that said, what I'm doing right now is I'm just uploading a little charting mechanism so we can actually take some notes on this. But I'll encourage you to take notes, participate if you have questions. If you want to add some possibilities, feel free to do that. We're happy to do that as well. And at this point, I just want to just get this thing up to speed here because it does take a little bit of time to load this sucker. We're using a charting mechanism that is not necessarily Mac. There it is. Okay, fantastic. We're good to go. Okay, so I'm just going to get this set up, and let me, Barbara, if you want to unmute yourself, we can get started here, and we'll talk about your business and all of the things that we're going to do with that. Cool. So hey, Barbara. Whoa.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks. Excellent. I'm trying to see. There was a bunch of feed. You on a headset right now?
No, let me put one on, though.
Yeah, please. You got it, because there's way too much feedback coming through.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
All right. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna dig in and really dive deep into what Barbara can do to build her business. And as we do that, I want you to think about what you can be doing to be building your business as well. It sounds like Fiverr closet over there. And again, whoa! I should have muted you while you did that. Okay, are we good? I don't know. I can't. Barbara, is the headset on yet? Suddenly got quiet, which is nice.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. So,
Okay.
all right. And Dwayne, if you could do me a favor, just to be on the safe side, why don't you mute yourself in the background? Feel free to unmute yourself when you have something to add. But if you got noise going on in the background, sometimes we have feedback, sometimes we don't. It's just kind of wacky all the way down the line. And Cynthia, I just sent you your code to do your thing. Okay, so Barbara, do me a favor and move the microphone a little bit away from your mouth because I hear heavy breathing.
You got me excited, Ken. What can I say?
I know, and 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. So okay, so let's talk a little bit about what your business is, what you've been doing, and what your big passions are as we get this thing to go on.
Okay, well, you kind of took me by surprise by doing this, so you have
Good.
to give me a second to reconnect. Actually, honestly, I have been practicing for the last couple of years and not exactly doing anything. I'm just in the process now of doing a WSO, which I hope will be successful, and start to get some clients. The other thing that I really want to do is I want to have some sites that things that I'm really interested in, and be able to I've thought about doing consulting, coaching, also just being able to have some products that I produced and selling those. So I'm kind of up in the air as to exactly what to do. I'm sorry I'm not being more definitive.
It's okay.
But
We'll get you there. You're typical of most people. And let me stop you there for a second. First of all, you talk about doing a WSO, which is, tell me what your WSO is. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that, you probably shouldn't be, because it can be very addicting. It stands for Warrior. Stands for Warrior Special Offer, and it comes off of the Warrior Forum, and that's usually a term that relates to a low end priced product or software, information product or software item that is generally used as a lead gen for somebody. But tell me what your thing is, because this is the first time I've heard about you doing a WSO.
Yes, what I'm doing it on is what I call smart calling, and what that is, it's to teach people who are offline how they can go about doing calling, but not have it be cold calling, but have it be warm calling. And because I think there's so much material put out there, gee, all you have to do is send an email, all you have to do is this or that, and automatically clients are going to appear offline, and that's just not what happens.
Okay.
And so the idea behind this is to make sure that you get information prior to calling someone, so that you know what their issues are, what are the types of solutions you can offer them, and also the things that you would expect, like some scripts that you can use to get in. But it's to take that cold calling away from what people are used to hearing, and make them realize that they can call without it being the worst thing that ever happened to them, and it can really increase the amount of business that they have.
Okay, and what's your purpose for this WSO?
The purpose of the WSO is twofold. Number one, it's something that I've been very interested in, and I see as a problem with offliners. And number two is start to build a base of clients.
Okay, let's go to the basic clients for a second. Clients for what?
I should say buyers.
Okay, buyers for what?
Buyers for this product and hopefully related products.
Okay, so tell me what your ultimate business is. I mean, what are you looking to achieve?
What I'm looking to achieve is to build up enough income so that I can continue to work, but not have it be something that's that it's an all-encompassing process, and one that I can build up, and as I said, be able to retire, because I'm getting to be that age, and I want to be able to do that.
Okay, you and I talked in our one-on-one in our strategy
Mm-hmm.
session a while back, and forgive me because I don't have my notes in front of me, actually, because I don't have notes in front of me. And it's always better to ask again, what are you passionate about? What's the thing that gets you excited, that gets you up? If you could choose your perfect day, what would you be doing?
If I could pick my perfect,
Yeah, define
that's a
define.
really good question. I think probably what I'm passionate about, and what I would do, are maybe a little bit different. But one thing I'm passionate about is animals and rescues and all that type of stuff, which you can't make a business out of. So
Uh,
that's
uh,
something I do.
don't ever
Eh,
say
eh,
never. Don't ever say never. But keep
okay,
going. Okay.
yes.
Okay, but keep going.
Um, Plus, I'm such a softie, I would cry all the time.
Right. Okay.
So it wouldn't be a very good day. But
Mm-hmm.
I think what gets me excited
Mm-hmm.
is that I really love to be a problem solving. I really enjoy consulting. I've been doing that for the last 25 years, and um, I find that to be very rewarding.
Okay. And the kind of consulting that you've done, what is it?
Is been has been with medium to large organizations, like up to like Fortune 100s, and it's been revolving around strategy, process, IT, and organizational development.
Okay. So you're kind of out there. You kind of got a lot of things that are organizational. Now,
Mhm.
have you liked what you were doing?
With the consulting,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I like what I do. I like the I like the discovery part of it, if that makes sense, where you
Hmm.
really go into a client and you really find out where the opportunity lies. I'm less interested in doing, although I have done it, what I would call the results delivery, where you take all the findings, the analytics, and say, okay, now we're gonna implement this to help solve whatever problem, or to get more sales, or whatever it may be. So I like the upfront salesy kind of thing, and doing analysis.
Okay. I'll say you're sort of the voyeur. Um,
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
okay. Yeah. There's a lot of you people out there. Okay, but you enjoy that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what would be now so you do enjoy that. So if you were to like look at other people's problems,
Hmm.
and identify what how messed up they are, and then create their strategy, that would excite you.
Yes, it would.
Okay,
Hmm.
cool. Okay, cool. So if the question then is, if we could create, and if you could create a system that would help businesses, small or large, you can define that, improve the way they operate in a variety of ways, and we can get into the top 3 or 4 or 5 ways that you find where most businesses are screwed up. We'll do that in a few minutes. That would
Hmm.
that would be satisfying to you.
Yeah, and I could do that. It doesn't, it can be in a number of different areas, and I'm just picking one out of the sky. Like it could be um, stress. Why do people feel stress? What are they um, what's making them stressful? What's going on in their lives? So it doesn't necessarily have to be per se about a business. It could also, be with an individual person who has um, some opportunities that they
Well,
can
hmm well, let's sit.
realize.
Let's sit back for a second. If we're talking about if
Hmm.
we're talking about the business that you've helped, let me ask you this: what are the 5 or 6 top problems that you've solved that are traditional? I mean, typical. You've done for 20 plus years
Hmm.
with the business.
Hmm.
What are the top 5 or 6 things that you would categorize as the top 5 or 6 biggest challenges that businesses have that you could solve, or at least guide them in a lot of ways?
Right, sure. I think one of the things is matching up their strategy with their tactics, what they do every day, and usually find that a lot of times they're not aligned. Usually find that within an organizations that the functional areas really don't communicate with one another. For example, engineering doesn't communicate with manufacturing, so they design something and manufacturing can't do it. I think the other is organizational change, making sure that that people are in the right jobs, doing the right things, process improvements. I mean, that just goes, as you well know, across the board, from sales and marketing to manufacturing to you know, you name it, engineering.
Okay, hang on a second.
Did I get?
I'm a whole lot slower than you are right now. So I got matching strategy and tactics. I got organizational change. What did I miss? I thought you were explaining each one. So keep going. Just help me out here.
Okay, process improvements.
Okay, I gotta fix this. I am not a genius for this. Process improvements.
No, you're a lot better than.
No, this thing. I don't particularly love this program. Process improvements. Okay.
Let's see, what else did I say? Matching strategies and tactics, organizational change, process improvements. I think matching up, well, we already did strategies and tactics. Understanding what the real issues are in a company.
Okay.
And they usually don't. And I think the other thing that I have enjoyed is I've done a lot of merger and acquisition work, and so I enjoy doing M&As.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, let me ask you a question. With M&A, would you be adept at helping the average company plan as they build their business to structure their business for an acquisition or for sale?
You mean from the original point that I'm going to develop this company and then sell it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never done that, but I think if you do the right kind of market analysis and understand, I think it's possible to do it. I've never done it because it's always been two existing companies.
Okay. 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 What else?
Let's see. Imagine.
And basically, you come into a company and the company's screwed up. What are the top what are the top screw ups that the companies have that need fixing primarily?
Okay.
So
primarily.
Yeah.
You know, let's see. We have quite a few of them. Let me see what else I can think of.
Just give them to me, and I'll just put them in one box rather than make different boxes. So we'll make it faster.
All right. Let's see. We put organizational changes, also organizational development. How are you going to how do you train people so that they're trained in the right skills that they really need to help the organization achieve its goals?
Okay.
I think that setting strategy itself, you know, what exactly is it that you're trying to accomplish as an organization?
Okay.
So setting strategy. How to have outstanding customer service.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Oh wow!
you got 25 years. Don't choke on me here.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of them are doing the same thing over and over again. I think marketing is also really important to understand exactly how you're going to market your products and how that's going to link into what the strategy of the organization is.
Okay. So, anything else you want to add to that?
Not now.
Okay. All right. This is all electronic, which means it can be changed. I'm just going to throw these things down here. Okay. So these are the basic hot buttons that you could probably talk about in your sleep. Is that right?
Yes, and practically bore people to death. Yes.
Okay. Well, you know, possibly and possibly not. If they're in trouble, they're probably not going to be terribly bored, right?
Right.
Because they're in pain, and therefore, if your target customer is in pain, then you'll be very exciting. You'll be like a a Stephen King novel, not unable to put down. So, it's really about finding the right client, the perfect client, the optimum client that's going to be the listener for these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when we get to like product design, we can. And by the way, we got way too many listed here. We're gonna bring that down to like 5 or 6 uh, categories that will best suit and serve you from your marketing standpoint. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
that's going to be kind of fundamental, because what we're trying to accomplish here is to get people to come in the door that fit exactly what you're looking for, like a glove. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the average person give me the makeup of your normal target perfect. Let's look at your perfect client.
Well, the a perfect client would be a client who is having any number of problems. For example, they may be not making the revenue they want to, their costs may be too high, they're not getting the kind of customers, clients that they want.
Okay.
Um,
What kind of business do they have?
oh, it can basically be it. I've worked in all different types of industries, so I would say that's pretty open, except for probably government.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
What size companies are you most effective with and you have most fun with?
I would say the most fun with actually depends on where you are in the organization. If you're working at the executive level,
Mm-hmm.
then the size of the company really is not as important. I mean, they have to be big enough to afford your prices, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that it depends on what level that you really go into. So it's having a client at that level of being able to actually make change happen.
Okay. So you need a client that's someone that's got an influential position
Right. Hmm.
or power position. Okay, so what size company are we talking about? Because primarily you're going to be looking for somebody who's CEO or senior VP or owner, right?
Right.
Okay,
Hmm.
so what size company?
I would say probably for what I'm talking about now is probably 10 to 50 million.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, so your target client, and this is what our target is, right? A
Hmm.
company from 10 to 50 million. You're talking about anywhere from a senior VP or just VP, but probably senior VP because a bank VP is a clerk,
Right.
unfortunately, right? So let's call it senior executive VP, whatever else, up to CEO or owner. That's
Hmm.
your target client, target customer that you could buy this round of services to. Correct?
Right. Hmm. Correct.
Okay. Okay. We're not dealing. We're not. That's who we want. Now let's look at who we don't want. Okay. Who we don't want. Okay. That's kind of
Hmm.
important. That's kind of important right there. So we don't want is single entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurial companies. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Who else don't we want?
Um,
Which is basically anywhere
we
from zero to 10 million, basically.
right. Hmm.
Okay.
No, I mean I'd be more than happy to work in a Fortune 100 client, but I'm trying to be realistic with the size that I feel that would
Sure.
be being able to be handled.
Okay. 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 What else? What other characteristics of a company do you not want to deal with? Do you not want to deal with, or even on a personality level?
A
Do you not?
family, a family owned business.
Ah, good. Okay.
Um, I think that they don't want to change. They don't see that there are opportunities within the company.
Okay. How about no
Hmm.
closed minds? Is that good?
That's perfect.
All right.
Absolutely
Yeah,
perfect.
that's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Small entrepreneurs too big, no family, no closed minds. Not not recognizing the what a consultant can do for them.
My not recognizing my. I'll use the word not recognizing my gifts. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's probably a little bit out there, but for now, we'll leave it that way
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about an outside consultant. It's about you. Okay. What else? What else don't you want? If you see or hear something coming out of their mouth in the interview or whatever else, you're gonna like run.
Let's see what else. I think that is somebody who blames their employees and says stuff like, "Well, everybody knows the strategy, and people don't know the strategy." You can say it over and over again, but if you can't explain it correctly to people so that they understand it, and there's,
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Blamers, victims. Yeah,
Blamers and victims.
that's good.
Yeah. Can't stand.
Yeah.
I can't stand them either. Can't
Yeah.
stand them either. Okay. Anything else? Any industries? Any industries or types of companies you won't work with?
I'm not thrilled with oil and gas.
Okay.
So that's basically about it. Now,
Okay.
some industries may be, too technical, but a lot of times they think they're so different from everybody else, but 80% of what everybody does is the same exact stuff. It may have a different name, it may have a different look, but
Okay. Will you do tobacco companies?
no.
Will you do alcohol companies?
I never thought about that.
Now it's
I guess I would prefer to stay away from them.
right now. What about a small winery?
That's very interesting.
Right.
Yeah, now that's an entirely different ball game. Yes, I would do that.
Right. Exactly. I understand. That's why in hard liquor versus a winery, two different allures as well, right? How about porn?
Absolutely.
How about porn?
No.
Damn. See,
No.
I thought you could fix the whole porn industry. Okay. All right. Okay. So these are things we stand in, and part of that was kind of for the humor, but laying out specifically what you don't want makes it clear that what you do want is something that's significantly different. So instead of what we don't want is we don't want small entrepreneurs. Okay. We don't want people that are too big for us either. We don't want family businesses, and I can completely understand why, because they can drive you absolutely batty. You won't deal with people that have closed minds because they'll never accept what you're telling them to do anyway. They'll just pay your fee or whine about it. You don't want anybody who's not going to actually value you. You don't want people that are blamers or victims. No oil or gas, no tobacco, no porn. Probably, I would assume you don't want environmentally unfriendly companies.
Correct.
Okay. So should we say socially conscious only?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Whoops. Okay, so I said it backwards here. It should have really been on the other side. But nope, no
I get it.
But yeah, okay,
Right.
but that's okay. We're here. Anything else you want to add to this list?
No, I think that's a good list.
Okay, cool. So let's get down here. And the nice thing about using this little charting thing is that we can move all sorts of stuff around and make a mess, which is how I tend to do things. I probably should have stuck it into a big mind map, but not today. All right. So this is a good start. This is a really good start. What we're looking to do is help people with their managing their strategy, their tactics, organizational development, setting strategy, outstanding customer service, managing organizational change, developing or improving their current processes, or understanding the real issues inside the company, possibly handling them with M&A. Although the thing about M&A is this is not recurring normally. Once you do this, you're done, right?
Right.
So in terms of things that would be recurring for long-term benefit to you, these areas here are far more interesting for the long term than running M&A, correct? Okay.
Yes.
All right, because what I'm looking for you from a model is something that's got longevity. All right. All right. Now, regardless of short-term goals, and the long-term goal, this is what we're looking for. Anytime you still got to eat today, but the short-term goals, you still want to bring people into this let me give this box a color because we'll make this box, and I don't have a great color chosen yet, unfortunately, but let's just pick this color green. All right, I'll apply that. Okay, so there, it's sort of ugly, but right now, okay, but that's your perfect client. That color sort of sucks, actually, but
That's okay.
but anyway, the green was like neon, but that's your perfect. Let's make it neon because we do want that. So that's our kind of our perfect client. We want those perfect clients right there. Okay, these guys.
Right.
These guys we don't want, and those are like the to avoid people because they just, put them in red. All right. But somehow that didn't work. That was I did the well, it's okay. So we surrounded that
It's
in
in
red.
red, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I got the general idea.
Right.
Clearly, I'm not the king of charting this morning. Okay, all right. So that's what we're looking to attract, and that's our perfect client. And the thing is that generally speaking, that $10 to $15 million company has money to pay you. So you know what we didn't do? We need to add that. That's kind of an important thing. It has the money to pay you.
Yes.
No, and don't laugh at that because I got to tell you, and this is for all of you guys. There are so many people that may be lovely clients, but they're broke, and they have no money to pay you. And at the end of the day, this is not a charity. You may love what you're doing, and I hope to God everybody does love what they're doing. That's life's too short to not love what you're doing. But if you're not getting paid for it, you're not a social welfare agency unless you're a social welfare agency. And we're looking to create at some point a business accelerator or incubator sort of a situation where companies may not, or potential companies may not have a lot of cash, but they'll come in and give us a piece of equity. Where if we believe in them, we'll help them build their company. That's one conversation. But in this kind of company, unless Barbara, you're getting equity for what you're doing, ain't going to cut it. They've got to have cash to pay you. So a company that can barely make payroll, they desperately need you, but they might be able to afford you. So, bottom line, unless they're going to give you some kind of retainer today or have some sort of plan where, there's dollars there for you that are guaranteed, you're not playing. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It goes into the thank you very much, but, go find some other fool. Because far too often, some of the best consultants, certainly in the beginning of their businesses, give stuff away and do things that are ultimately stupid, that will hurt them in the long term. And you think, oh, well, I'm just getting my experience. No, bull. You've been around, So
Right.
so we've got to make sure that we're clear that there's cash today. Because a client that's a $10 or $50 million company, you're not coming in with a low end solution. In most cases, you're coming in at what would be on a daily basis if you were going to come in that way. And I'm going to give you some other thoughts on this, but what would be your
on a daily basis?
A daily rate, yeah.
Yeah, I would say it would be for me like 2,000 a day.
Okay.
I mean, that would be my goal.
All right. Well, that to me seems actually cheap, but I don't know what they're used to paying. So you would know better than I. Now,
Right.
Now, have you thought about these guys have these issues, and these issues are tend to be, from what I can see, recurring. They're process oriented issues that that are they're consistent. Stress you had on an individual basis, but and maybe that's going to be kind of the personal side of things that motivates or manages this. But these guys, they'll go pop their Xanax, and that'll make them happy, which is certainly not holistic. But if you can solve this, these, that goes away dramatically.
Right.
So you can say you're the stress reduction queen by fixing your strategy, the way your organization's set up and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, your guidance is going to be, as an external person, could be very, very helpful to them on a continuing basis. Would that be fair to say? All right.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, and by the way, I'm kind of looking at this from the standpoint of our 5 pillars. With the Institute of Entrepreneurship, we have 5 pillars, and the 5 pillars. I'm saying pillars, and they're the 5 quests, excuse me. But basically, you would consider them pillars to a solid business. And the first one is the quest for the perfect client. Well, we just found the perfect client right here. Okay, the perfect client has problems, costs are too high, wrong customers. The person's got a key position that can make decisions and has the cash to pay you. Okay.
Right.
The person who's been in the category, thanks very much. Good luck. God bless. And by the way, you may find that we can expand this in a few minutes. Okay. Now the next uh, quest is the quest for customer development and evangelism. Customer development means getting them to come back for more and pay you more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Right.
what I'm looking at from that standpoint, which basically means we increase the lifetime value of the customer or of the client.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
if you go into these companies and you're at a couple $1,000s a day, and let's say you're there for 2 days, you made $4,000, but you need a back end. You need another way of having this company served that serves you, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
so and by the way, what I didn't ask you is normally when you've gone into a company like this, how many days is normally part of your routine?
That's a good question because most of my work has been, with much larger companies.
Mm.
So I'm trying to ratchet it down to see what it
Mm.
would be, and I would think it would be at least 4 to 6 weeks.
Of $2,000 a day. So we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about 5 times 6 or 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Really? So effectively, your job. I don't want to use that word. Your what's the word I'm looking for? Your what do we call this? I don't even want to call it a gig. What would you assignment? I don't want to even use the word assignment. Your shoot. We need a good word for this. What is it? Your
Your job, oh wow, that's
well, I'm just going to call it a gig for right now. You're at
okay.
Fiverr.com.
Yeah.
You're at Fiverr.com,
Right.
except you're a lot more expensive. Okay, your average is averagely 4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it 4 weeks. 4 weeks, which is approximately 20 days,
Correct.
right? At at 2K a day, and would it be 2K a day for 20 days?
No, I think you'd come down in price with that.
All right.
Probably go to, yeah,
What?
probably go to maybe like, no, say what do I have? 2K there. Probably more like 1,500,
Okay.
12 to 1,500, something like that.
Let's run 1,500 a day. So that makes it 30 grand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a $30,000 gig or $30,000 assignment, if you will. Okay, that's not payday. You don't need to do any of those over the course of a year. What's your annual goal?
My annual goal is between 2 and 300.
Okay. All right. So we have $300,000 for that. All right. Now, if you're on this gig for 20 days, which is 4 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
so under the scenario, the maximum of these suckers you could do would be effectively 10 or 11, because you're not going to work
Mm-hmm.
every single week of the year. So 10 or 11,
Right.
to 10 of these brings you to your number. Okay, you need 10 of these. In the meantime, you gotta find these folks, negotiate with them, meet with them, get to
Right.
them and sell them. So that's going to take some of your time too. About how much of that time is it going to take?
That can, it can range. It can be months and months before
Right.
you. That's the only problem when you're doing something like this by yourself. You can't sell and do at the same time.
Exactly, and that's my point. Let me
Mm-hmm.
offer you another possibility, which may or may not work for
Okay.
these guys. I don't know. And by the way, do you know people that could work with you as let's call them,
Contractors?
yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's take a look at contractors here. All right, and what would the contractors cost you?
Let's see. Probably 1,000 to 1,200 a day.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So all right, well, okay. Hang on a second. We got some room here.
$100 an hour, maybe 800 to 1,000.
All right, cost 800. What helps if you write it properly? 800. All right, let's just assume that it's $1,000 a day, which basically would mean your margin would be approximately 200 to $500 a day
Mm-hmm.
if you outsource that. Okay.
Right.
All right. So 500 a day times 20 days. Whoops. It helps if I actually know how to do this. 500 times 20 is what, 10 grand?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's not so bad. And here's where it gets to be fun. What would happen if you put together a high level group coaching program, almost as if it was a mastermind program that cost
Okay.
somebody say $25,000 a year, just round
Mm-hmm.
number, round. It can't cheap, because if it was cheap, it wouldn't have value. But if it was
Right.
$25,000 a year for a company that's got 10 to $50 million in revenue, that's a drop in the bucket for those guys. You know, they won't even
Mm-hmm.
they won't even see that. Okay, so
Right.
if you had a high level coaching program, $25,000 a year, and let's just say 20 people were in it. 20 people were in it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys met once a week for a couple of hours, as a group, and you gave them, and then you met with each one of them individually for a couple of hours every month, perhaps. Okay,
Right.
to go through their issues. I mean, and really deal with them. And by the way, as a mastermindish sort of thing, um, you can dive in pretty deep. You could also, for that $25,000 a year, you could do some high level retreats. So every quarter, for example, you guys could get together for a couple of days somewhere. You know, they got to pay their way to get there. But let's say you went away for a Thursday, Friday someplace, and dove in deep, and you just and if you did 4 times a year, you could have pick your pillars as we define these. We'll get these defined more clearly later. But if
Mm-hmm.
each one of these was a dive in deep to their particular situation, because they're going to find out that they're not different than anybody else, and they may be able to in that area, as long as they're not in competing markets, and you can choose that.
Right.
You can define that, right? So if you did that, if you had, say, a maximum of 20 people, and it won't start overnight, but 20, but let's just look at this for a second as an option. Okay, so if you did a group, high level group, let's call it a high level. Actually, it's not a high level. It's going to be, you have high level clients anyway. So we did a group. I want to use the word coaching, but we'll call it group coaching mastermind. Okay, 20 people times 25K. All right, what's that?
Let's say fit 500.
That's $500,000 right there. Now,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and so if you only had 10 people, that's $250,000, and your goal was 200 to 300. So you're right in the marketplace there.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing is
Right.
you don't have to leave home so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
Right.
right. So you got that. Now, if these guys, if these guys need somebody to come in for a few days or a few weeks or whatever to adjust something, you've got the contractors to go in and do it for you while you're relaxing on your Caribbean island someplace, because you don't have to travel in the snow, sleet, rain, whatever, if you're living up in the north as you are, or mess around. You could be down. You could be hanging out with your with your beach buddies,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not even kidding. You could be doing that because you can run this
Right.
from anywhere, the way we're setting it up. So you can then have your contractors come in and provide those ancillary services. They may want you, but now that you positioned yourself as running this coaching mastermind piece, your rate's no longer 2K a day. Your rate's 5K a day,
Mm-hmm. Right.
or 3,500 a day, or whatever the heck it is. You're not $2,000, because you're leading this thing. Okay,
Right.
what does this look like to you?
It looks very doable. The old the old nut in doing this, of course, is getting the clients.
Right.
Um,
Right, exactly. So we've got to talk about
yeah.
you've got to talk about your marketing, and
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, if you create this with an air of exclusivity, what is your what? How would you recommend? Because you know these clients. What's the best way to start acquiring these clients?
I'm not really sure because I've never this size, company that we have here is something I've worked with much larger companies, and so I'm a little bit lost as to how to how to do that.
Okay, let's take you out of your head and take you
Okay.
take you into consultant mode. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now a $500 million company. You're used to working with companies my size,
Mm-hmm.
and my target client, because we have a consulting end. We're like we're like Anderson Consulting Junior now. Our target market is people that are 10 to 50 million companies. How would you tell me to find those companies to sell to?
Well, I think that well, interestingly enough, the way I might start off is doing some PR
Mm-hmm.
and letting people know what you've been able to accomplish.
Okay, so we're talking about why can't this thing work? Love when my computer doesn't do thing. We're talking about basically social proof now, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And by the way, okay, so let me just fix this here. So we're going to talk about case studies and social proof.
Right.
Okay. What else?
Um, well, you can have people doing warm calling,
Okay. All right. Anything else?
with understanding with understanding what their issues might be.
Sure.
Um, Referrals.
How are you going to get a referral?
That's always a good question, how to get a referral. Because you usually get those after you've done the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let
So
me,
that probably is not. Go ahead.
referrals are good, for sure. I love referrals. Referrals are terrific. That's an important. That's basically the idea of our second quest, which is client development and evangelism, which is the idea about referrals.
Hmm.
Whoops,
Right.
spell that properly. What about LinkedIn?
It's funny you should say that, because that was going to be my next one. So great minds, I guess.
LinkedIn. That's where your client lives. I mean, that's where
Hmm.
that's exactly where they live. So LinkedIn and LinkedIn groups
Hmm.
are a gigantic way of creating that. Have you thought about, or would you advise someone to do webinars, some free webinars, and providing content to showcase through your case studies how things get accomplished?
Sure. Could do that.
Okay. Okay. And videos. What else?
Um, Referrals, LinkedIn, webinars, videos. Um,
And by the way, if you guys have comments in the background, you can feel free and pop them in the chat. Or if you are able to unmute yourself, you can jump in too. Okay. Okay. Remember,
Webinars, videos.
I'm a $500 million company, and I want to find those other companies to work
Hmm.
with to sell our stuff to.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. That's another good one.
Yep. It's all about positioning yourself, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. That's a good starting point, right? Now,
Yes.
now, the nice thing is, by the way, you don't have to start out uh, by running a megaphone marketing kind of campaign.
Hmm.
In other words, when you write your article, you can talk about your clients, and here's what we did in this case. In that case, it will subliminally sell people into contacting you.
Right.
You don't have to go out of the way to brag about you should contact me. No, they will, because
Hmm.
they will you will have written your copy in your article or whatever, or even in your video that you're doing, and as you present your webinar, um, what what uh, I just lost track because I was looking at Sheila's comment. You're by giving your credentials and giving your credibility and laying it out, they will come to you. They will come to you.
Right.
That's what fed me with real estate. Okay, Sheila is asking real quickly, could you give me a recap of what Barbara's done to date and her qualifications? Let me to give some thoughts. She's already an OD professional. She's been doing high level consulting for like 20 plus years in the areas we had on the screen over here, of organizational process, matching strategies, organizational change, and so on. Okay. Um, okay, let me find out what's going on with you, Dwayne, but I can't focus on that right this minute. Obviously, in the middle of doing this process. So thanks for letting me know. That annoys the hell out of me. Someone's going to get their ass kicked. Okay, so let's go back to this. So running your camp. Whoops, your good God, navigation is not my biggest skill this morning either. Running your campaign this way can run fast and it can run slow. Interestingly, interesting, and that was sort of a dumb thing to say, but not necessarily. Here's why I'm saying that. Running into a LinkedIn group and starting to provide answers to questions, people you can start dialogue that way, and
Correct.
you'll jump into the right target market, the right $10 to $50 million company marketplaces or whatever. Plenty of groups that fit that category. Okay, and start answering questions and answer questions again with your social proof and your case studies. Here's what we did in this case. It might help you. Here's what I did with one of my clients. Blah blah blah. As long as you keep saying with one of your clients, or a member of our, a member of our group did this, it's cool, and then of course they're gonna look you up, and your profile at LinkedIn will then lead them to, it's kind of a circumnavigatable area here, but it'll lead them to your website, which will have a ton of content all over it, that answers that. All right, that tells them how fabulous you are, and of course they've got to get the free report or the free something of any one of these different areas. The one thing you need to do to solve your organizational change problems, and you got to dive in a little more deeply on this, but we need to fine tune these down. Okay. Sheila is saying, can you use references from prior clients? Yeah, that's exactly what we want. And by the way, your prior clients, you should be pulling referrals from them, from the people from the larger companies to all those smaller companies. And we want to go back, and you and I have talked about this before. You want to go back to every one of those people you've worked with in the past, and have them do testimonials. Have them do. I worked with Barbara. She just kicks ass. She took us from doing business in a garage on desks that were doors to now owning three office buildings at the Googleplex. With their photo and so on, and and even running white papers on what you've done. She's saying, Sheila's saying you can use the OD network and the LinkedIn group to just do this. That each state has a group. So the LinkedIn groups. Thanks Sheila. The LinkedIn groups are a massive help to you, and by the way, to me too. Because our audience is entrepreneurs that are unhappy, basically. That or want to be entrepreneurs. So to turn someone into a totalpreneur, we got to go to the entrepreneurs and serve them. So it's the same kind of thing with you. Okay. Is there a particular niche in the $10 to $50 million company that will help? And there's also a yearly OD conference. So yeah, working the conference is good point, Sheila. Working the conference is really going to be fundamental. Let's put this in here. It was definitely working conference.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And networking. In the short, and I'm not even thinking about a booth scenario. Once you get big enough, you could, but I want to make you exclusive. So that if you're doing a booth, you don't have that air of exclusivity, right? But become a speaker at one of the conferences, right?
Right.
And I wouldn't even do a sponsorship. I would just go and I would network that way. Again, you're not. I think Sheila's got to do a paper for the newsletter. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, but let's put it in here, as well as I have articles in industry pubs right here. Okay. White papers, of course, should be part of the conversation. Okay. All right. And and all of that ties in, and these guys will take all that stuff for free. And the white paper, of course, that's your selling piece. That's your copy. So by doing that, you've now positioned yourself into be a great place. And by the way, to get them to sign up for this group coaching at 25,000 a year, or I think if you did it for any less than that, it would not have the qualification. $25,000 is $2,000 a month.
Right.
So not unreasonable when we're talking about giving them a couple of an hour or so with you, every month, and maybe you'll give them 2 hours. I don't know. I mean, you got to be careful about this because it's time versus money. So 2 hours times 20 people each month, already that became a full week of your time. Now, you know what? You're making $500,000 a year over here. Not feeling so bad about that, and that's phone work from the beach or from wherever, so not necessarily bad, but I'd like to take this $500,000 up. Now you will, because people will need someone in their company to do some more extensive work, at which point you put your outsourced team in there and you'll generate, maybe another 10K out of that. So if you had 10 people going out or let me rephrase, if you had 10 jobs coming out of this, bam, there's another $100,000 for you. And you do one yourself if you wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's another great possibility for you. And we haven't talked about anything further on that, but that already gives you a potentially $600,000 a year business, twice what your objective is.
Right.
And the cool thing is that this mastermind is recurring, so it keeps going. And you by the way could run two of them. If you're leaving it at 20 people, maxing it out there so that you do have some personal. You might grow it to 50 because not everybody's going to show up for the live call like this morning. Not everybody's showing up for the live call. We have a lot of folks that will watch it on the recording. So you could amp it up. You could increase it to 30, 40, 50, whatever you feel is manageable. And that could easily grow you. Or you could run a second group, and it's totally cool to do that as well. So that possibility exists. And by the way, they will refer their friends.
Right.
What Sheila's saying is papers that are annotated are really helpful and give a huge credibility in the OD field. Sure, hang on a second, Peter. Let me unmute you. Okay. Okay, Sheila, you're on, babe. Maybe I surprised
Thanks
you.
so much, Ken.
There you
Hi,
are.
Barbara.
Hey, Sheila, how you doing?
There I am. I'm doing swell, thanks.
Where in Canada are you? I want to physically place you.
I'm near, I'm about 20 miles from Toronto,
Where?
Ontario.
I know that, but where? I've been to Toronto many times. I've spoken.
I'm in
there.
Burlington.
Okay. Okay. No
Does that help?
Yeah. No, yes, actually it does. Because I've spoken, and I'm going blank right now, but I've been in that area. So yes, cool. Thank you. Okay. So
I'm actually between Hamilton and Toronto.
Yes, I used to speak in Hamilton a lot. So yeah. So yeah, cool. Those areas of Hamilton, Burlington, I'm going blank right now. Those little areas.
Niagara.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we actually did. I was in Niagara on September 11th. Actually, no, that was a few days later, but I had to stay that way. And we have spoken in. Well, anyway, that doesn't matter. Now I got your place. That's cool. Let's work on Barbara's situation. So you're on, babe.
Okay, so Barbara, just so I can give you some background, my master's degree is in OD, my PhD is in human and organizational systems, and I'm one of 11 senior certified OD professionals here in Canada. So OD field is kind of my backyard.
Right.
So let me just ask you, if you look to the left at stress, matching strategy with tactics, organizational change, process improvements, and understanding real issues, which one is the one that you have the passion for?
Understanding the real issues.
Great.
Okay, so if you go to understanding the real issues and you were to walk into an organization that is 10 to 50 mil, or was it 10 to 50 or 100,000 to 500?
That was 10,
anyway,
10
doesn't
15,
matter.
yeah.
If you were to walk, understanding the real issues.
I'm sorry I missed that. You kind of cut out.
Okay, make like I'm the person you're going to talk to in an organization. What would you say to me about that?
About understanding what the real issues are?
Yeah.
I would find out from you what you thought the issues were, and which may or may not be, there might be underlying issues, but from understanding that, then I would delve into the different areas, like, whether it be marketing, whether it be sales, whether it be whatever it is, and start to drill down on what do you see as the issues in each of those areas. So kind of like an overall company issues, and then go down and break it down further into the different, the different silos, and seeing what those issues are. So once I gathered all that information about, about the issues, then it would be a chance to talk about, okay, let's understand, for example, we're having a lot of problems with, manufacturing. It's not working well. We got a lot of rejects, quality problems. Well, maybe what we find out is it's not manufacturing, it's the way engineering has designed it. So the real issue then becomes the design and engineering and manufacturing talking to one another, and not just we have a quality problem in manufacturing. So that would be an example of the type of thing getting down to the real issue.
So once you got to that issue, what would you do? Process improvement, Lean Six Sigma, what would you do?
Well, I think depending on what the issue is, I would start off, and I know this sounds probably a little bit archaic, but one of the things that I found is to use what I would call a brown paper, which is a 3 or 4 foot paper that just goes on and on. We usually use brown papers because they're distinctive looking, and take the process from the beginning to the end and find out exactly where the inputs are, where the outputs are.
Right.
And
so that's a Lean Six Sigma approach.
Yeah, we call it brown paper process, but yeah, it is. It's very similar. Yeah.
So let me just suggest to you that you might want to pick one area in the organization that you want to focus on and have a huge success.
Absolutely.
Because in these big organizations, first of all, they don't have time, and they'll tell you that right up front. We don't have time. So you've got to find someplace that you can have a real success. So when you look at a real success area, after understanding the real issues, what would be your area that you would use to be the success? Would it be process improvements, organizational change, or matching strategies with tactics?
Well, I don't know that I would pick when you're talking about one target area. Are you talking? I would take one of the issues, and it might involve all of those things: strategy and tactics.
So let me just say this: they won't give you time to do all of those.
Well,
you've got to really hone yourself.
Yeah, it depends on if you have the analytics ready to go. And you have people that are very, that you have a set. Like, for example, we have a set analysis that we would use. There's different diagnostics and stuff that we would use. So
so how long would you say your process is going to take for them to see results? Because that's something you can sell them on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you say, you know what, in the next 3 months, you give me 3 months with these people, and here's what you will see at the end of the 3 months. And you've got to make sure that you can provide that.
Right. Well, how this process works is that you go in and you would do an analysis, and how long that might take depends on the size of basically depends on the size of the company, and what the issues are. But I've done some that are a week. I've done some that are 3 months, and the analysis is just to get to the real problems and issues within the company, and then from there go into results delivery, where you're actually taking the problems and you're solving them. So I can't say, well, it's going to take 3 months or it's going to take a month. It's very dependent on what you find out.
I'm going to suggest to you that you find out how long. So break it down into doable chunks, because they really want to know, how long is it going to take me? How much is this going to cost me? How long is it going to take me? And what can you guarantee me at the end? Because they're moving really quickly now. The other thing is, in these large organizations, they have OD departments. So team up with them and give them your specialty that they don't have. Because generally speaking, in the larger organizations, they have OD departments that do the broad-based stuff. They do a lot of change management, and they do a lot of workshops and those kinds of things. But if you can go in with a real unique skill, they will gobble you up, because they don't have time either.
Right.
So
Okay.
if you can perfect your understanding of the real issues to the point where you can be so clear about what it is that you do when you go in to analyze organizations, and you can offer that as the tool, but you come with the tool,
Mm-hmm.
and that this is what you can do for individual departments. You could do it organization wide, but you might want to prove it to them through a small part of the organization first, and then get the buy-in for the rest of the organization.
Okay, that sounds good.
Now, Sheila, let me jump in for a second on this.
Sure.
What I want to do is I want to give her the ability. I want to get everybody the ability to not be a slave to the process. But now, certainly something that can be outsourced. But what I want to do is I want to give you guys a replicable system and process, if you will, for building the business and growing it without being tied down too heavily, right? Because with what you're going to do here, you'll be in a business for
Right.
quite a few weeks, whatever. So we got to start her or you or anybody else for that matter in an overview scenario. Have people identify where their target areas of pain is or are, right? Okay,
Right.
and then jump in, and by doing that, you know, running from the higher level, Barbara can go and start give some basic tools, from all the things she's seen over the years, as you can do, right? Because companies have some of the same basic BS that they deal with all the time that they're blind to. When I started working in OD years ago with my degrees in OD, which doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot other than my degrees in OD. But we were doing an organizational analysis of a hospital in Boston, and that place was a mess, And so there's some fundamentals that we'll go through, and for you to be able to identify the basics, where your CEO or your senior VP or another your target decision maker is going to be like, wow, she really knows what she's talking about. Then you can start winning the contracts to go in and do little target areas or whatever, and bring your contractors in. So you can go in with a coaching piece, and even invite them in as guests. Come into this month's session for a taste, right? Building your
You
credibility.
know what I'm thinking?
What's that?
I'm sorry, Ken, you know what I'm thinking?
What?
I'm thinking that what you ought to be doing is providing workshops for the people that work in these organizations in
Yeah.
OD.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, do the workshops for them and sell them your tools.
That's a good idea. Let's add that to the piece.
Yeah, that's not the kind of consulting. I mean, when I'm looking at what my background is, you would go in and you would do an analysis. Through the analysis, you would find out where the areas of improvement are. Then you would be able to say, look, this is the business case. This is what you're going to be able to save in costs. This is what you're going to be able to increase in revenue.
But don't you want to teach others that? Or are you still wanting to be a sole entrepreneur? Because if you teach others...
You would teach others in the results delivery. When you're actually doing the project, you would have teams that would work on bringing about the results.
No, but I mean, don't you want to teach people your process? Don't you want to sell your process as a tool that people can buy from you and they can use? It's replicating you through others.
I don't think not an analysis. You really can't sell that. You really can't sell that as a tool, because it really takes somebody from outside the company to be able to, in my opinion, to be able to understand where the real issues are, to understand what the executives are looking for. And I think you have to go in at a very high level in the organization in order to get the results. And I think you have to be able to work at that executive level in order to be able to sell doing the results delivery of what you've been able to discover. I understand what you're saying about the tools, and I think you could do that when you're doing the results delivery. Like, this is how you would let's go back to my example of engineering and manufacturing. Well, this is what you would do in order to correct that problem. But you have to go in first and understand what the real problems are. And a lot of times, I can tell you from experience, I've had CEOs, I've had chairmen of the boards tell me that they know that the problem is X, Y, and Z, and they're totally off the mark because they really don't get into the organization and understand what's going on. Now, once again, that's with larger organizations. So,
Well, and you make a good point. The key, what you might do is run a high level workshop that that uses a selling tool, which basically is
Hmm.
your webinar. You
Yeah,
can't do that. I mean,
that's a good point.
you could kind of do a pull strategy with workshops if you had something. And I'm not sure that this is going to be easy for you, but if you did something that you knew what the areas were, what maybe your target department is you want to go to, the one that's most critical for most companies. So
Hmm.
you go to the
Right.
biggest pain point. You run a workshop, and which basically you just exacerbate the pain. You just make the pain even worse. And by the way, this is marketing. Whoops, this is marketing 101 for you guys. So as you look at talking to a prospect in a webinar or anything else, you want to make the pain as big, as bad, as ugly as it possibly could be. And with that pain, then comes a solution, which would be, get on a one-on-one call. Have your CEO get on a one-on-one call, me, or your executive VP or whatever, and we'll look at the solution. And
Hmm.
take them to an interview close. Here's what we do: take them into an interview close, and then once you determine through that conversation what they've got to say to you, and of course, as one of the two of you just said, what they think the problem is probably isn't even close to what the problem is, because they're so out to space. But the cool thing is that that both of you, and frankly all of us that are involved in any kind of business, we pretty much know what the fundamentals are that's going to happen in that business. We pretty much know that without the right advertising, things aren't going to happen. Without the right systems, things aren't going to happen. So you'll know that what their perception is probably off
Hmm.
by at least 40%. And
Right.
simply by asking a couple questions and leading them into elements of uncertainty, you should be able to get them into at least considering joining this, or having someone come in on an exploratory level to help them identify what their problems are. Again, it's going to take them into pain. Taking them through one of the processes that
Yep.
I like to use is spin selling. Neil Rackham's program, and if anybody hasn't bought that book, you got to buy it, read it, and dissect it. Spin selling, and I forget what the actual SPIN stands for. I mean,
Hmm.
S stands for situation. But
Right.
the basic idea is you take someone through where they are, and then they explore what the ramifications are of what happens if they don't solve that problem. They don't identify what that problem is more clearly, and what it's costing them is, this could cost them, by having some of these challenges, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever dollars a year. If they've lost some good people, that's a pain point for them. So living in that pain point and having
Hmm.
them look at the eyes implications, the implications
Right.
of not taking action are gigantic, far in excess of $25,000 a year for damn sure. Okay, which makes joining this, your group coach mastermind piece a deal, and then bring in one of your guys at $1,500 a day or whatever to go in and do a closer analysis of that. At which point you get to meet with them, whether it be in person or not. That's up to you. I'm trying to build a lifestyle business here, which kind of takes us to our fifth quest, which is quest for lifestyle of awesomeness. But that takes you to running a business that you're not a slave to, where you're not trading time for dollars. Because the objective for dealing in OD is not necessarily easy, because it does require that you actually get in to talk to people in the organization and find out for sure what's going on, because you can't really rely on a CEO or senior management to have the time to do it, B, see things clearly, and D, get true answers, because the employees are going to lie to you, and
Right.
not necessarily intentionally, but surely they're not going to give you fair answers, which is why so much data. And by the way, for everybody listening that's not involved in larger corporations, you're still a solopreneur, for example. Your customers are still going to lie to you. If you ask them questions, they're going to tell you in a lot of cases, if you're surveying them, what they think you want to hear. They want to be helpful. So sometimes
Right.
you really do have to get into behavior versus what the true answer is. That's kind of fundamental stuff. So that may be the way to bring them in from a funnel standpoint, right? But if the objective is to get them into this, which I've kind of pushed you into right now, but it doesn't need to be there. I just want to see you, and really all of you, in a position where you have continuity. Number one, if you got 20 people coming in $25K a year. And if they pay it up front, awesome. If they pay you $2,500 a month, 25,000 a year or $2,500 a month, take your pick. 20 people, let's say $2,500 a month, not so shabby in terms of a monthly income that you can count on, right? So it does allow you to have a lifestyle of awesomeness, which gives you a completely different mindset for how you're going to serve these folks. And you can do a lot more than you might normally do because you're now in a complete state of prosperity, right? Than you are in struggling to find the next client. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here for you, is to have them be part of the club, if you will. Getting them there not necessarily easy. So it's going to be LinkedIn groups. It's going to be drive them to a webinar or to the white paper or the brown paper or whatever. Definitely getting yourself in industry publications for sure, so people see your name out there all the time. That you're the rising star, and yeah, for sure, it's the social proof that you've got to have that talks about those. The nice thing is you've got all those years of clients, so by continuing to talk about what you've done with those clients and how you've gotten them from $10 million a year to $50 million a year or whatever it was, or an attrition rate in the company where top employees were leaving, or whatever. Again, back to the real issues here. We've got to dig in a little bit deeper as to what all these 5-6 areas are going to be that we'll dive into. You could position yourself as you're just going to be the problem solver for personnel. I'm still using the word personnel, human resources, excuse me, the not so new term. I still come back to personnel days, but or maybe it's manufacturing. We didn't identify manufacturing, but whatever that area is, Sheila does make a good point that you might consider niching yourself, that you deal with manufacturing companies only, and or service companies only, whatever that's going to be, and you may want to consider doing that, and again, because the more you niche now, the more drilled down this will be. I mean, right now, for example, we're talking about larger clients. Most of our customer base, most of my clients are entrepreneurs just like you. They're trying to deal with being online, and they're not usually dealing with large companies like this. So some people are going to listen to this going, well, that doesn't apply to me, but it does, Blanche. It totally applies to you. We're just adding a zero to this. Same concept of this to you if you have a small company, by the way. And that's just for those that are listening out there that are not. They're like, wait a minute, this doesn't apply to me. Bull, sure does. So the niching really can apply. Bring something into. I want to get you to have people coming into a regular coaching program that's of that higher level, so people can go inside and see their companies. And one of the things you may say to them is, guys, look, what you got to do is you got to figure out what the hell's really going on in your company, and you have blinders on. You have no idea unless you're out there loading bags onto the airplane. You have no idea what's going on inside that bag room. Unless you've actually worked as a janitor for a day, in your company, you have no idea what's going on the floor. If you never made a bed in your hotel, you have no idea how that process works and why your staff hates you. Some of the great CEOs go and do that. Some of them do it ceremonially so that it makes good press, but some actually care about that. When Richard Branson goes and visits his companies, or for example, when he goes to his gyms, I know this because I've been told that by his staff, he spends more time talking to the receptionist at the gym than he does talking to the manager of the gym. He doesn't care what the manager's got to say. He wants to know what people are saying at the customer level. So he's drilled down to get a real flavor and gets right into it. So if you don't have a CEO that's doing that, then yeah, you can call him on that immediately, and then that gets you in the door with basically being your internal shopper, your internal analysis. And again, what I'll suggest too is that you talk their language or make your own language up that would be exclusive to you. So, for example, you could call your internal secret shopper. Where someone comes into the company and jumps in a non-official fashion. You're not the consultant now. You're just another employee that's there for a couple of weeks, undercover. You can play, you can kind of play that too. And, and there's benefit to that, so all those kind of things you can play with. But, the idea about getting your message out there is going to need to be focused here, like right away, and answer all their questions. The more you answer the questions and position yourself as that kind of an expert, they will start to flock to you because you're focused. Now,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of that focus piece, let's jump back for just a little second where we began today. And we have this
Okay.
little smart calling WSO.
Mm-hmm.
How does that tie in to that perfect client?
Well, I think it does not tie in. I think it's for me. I am very mixed between trying to make a living online versus trying to make a living as a consultant,
Mm-hmm.
and so that sort of shows my dual personality or whatever. That um, I've really how can I say this? I think for me that, and maybe it's just because I've been around for a while,
Mm.
but um, I really have a desire to be able to do something online as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
The doing online works with LinkedIn, works with webinars, works with articles in industry publications, works with getting white papers out there. All of this can be completed online.
Right. Right.
What this is doing for you is taking you into a completely different direction with a customer that hasn't got any money.
Mm-hmm.
People that are buying WSOs for the most part are broke. That's why they're buying
Yeah.
WSOs. Okay, so you're looking at
Right.
you're looking at a very low level person that is a giant distraction. You got a potential business here that's a $600,000 a year business.
Right.
What's that business?
No, it's not 600,000. That's for sure.
Not even close. Not even
Right.
close. This will cost you money, not make you money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it absolutely will. That's why I wanted to look at what your perfect client is, what's going to make you dollars. You can do all sorts of stuff online. That's not a problem. But at the end of the day, selling an ebook is too costly for you. It takes you out of your focus, and like I said, it will hurt you. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's really, if you want to do some stuff because it's kind of cute, make it a hobby, but do not make it a business, because
Right.
is a huge distraction for you. Huge distraction for you. And by the way, unless you've got some, are you working with someone on promoting this WSO, or are you trying to promote it yourself?
No, I'm working with somebody.
Okay, cool. All right, that's good, because if you do it yourself,
Yeah.
that's a long way
It's
to
a right.
right. So cool. I mean, WSOs are wonderful, and if you're looking to work in that marketplace, you could gain a lot of traction there. I mean, we've got a couple of WSO possibilities that we're discussing with someone right now that we may do, because getting them to ascend into totalpreneurship does work for us, but
Right.
it doesn't fit this, not even close. Your
Mm-hmm.
your
No, you're right.
your CEO and executive of a $10 million company doesn't even know what the hell WSO is, right? It just doesn't.
Right.
So
Right.
making money online, this perception of making money online has got to be affiliate marketing and all this bullshit. Making money online, all the internet does. We need to make sure we have this fundamental handled right now for everybody listening here. All the internet is a means of marketing. It's an advertising tool, plain and simple, or for content delivery. It's great for content delivery too, but it's a marketing platform. That's what it is. I mean, in the old days, we get a phone, we would do a teleseminar. Now we can do a webinar. Oh boy, that's the difference of technology online. Back in the old days, we had to go face to face, to belly to belly, to meet with client. Now we can do it on a Skype call, video to video. Which I do from freaking Bangkok to New Jersey, or to Norway. So that's all online. It's all using the internet. So and so much marketing is done for, whether it's through LinkedIn groups or Facebook groups or whatever. We haven't even talked about Facebook in here, but there are CEO groups in Facebook too. I'm sure. I'm not a giant Facebook person, although I know that there's tons of opportunity that I'm not grabbing in Facebook, but LinkedIn for sure for you, and that's all the internet.
Yeah.
It's all online.
Right.
So the definition that you said earlier is is kind of cool. I mean, doing something new and that's the bright shiny object thing staring at you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a gigantic opportunity to make a ton of money, help a lot of people, because what you got to remember is, if you help this company at the high end, every single employee gets a benefit, and if the company grows and what they do is being socially conscious, then you're helping the world. It's a big deal. It really is.
Yeah. You're right. Mm-hmm.
It's a bigger deal than you think. What we tend to forget is the ripple here. My getting you to help a company like that helps me affect the world. My
Mm-hmm.
ability to give, to give each of you the ability to generate more cash and capital, there's the ripple through effect, but it does let you ripple through to generating a lot more along the way. So this would be, again, from where I'm recommending to you, get in. We got to build a plan of, again, what the top areas will be here, where you are here. Okay. So,
Right.
and play those out, because we got what we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got to bring it down, and understanding the real issues in a company is very generic, clearly very generic. So we got to bring that down to, let's bring that down to what are the 5 real issues in a company, right? Which we started to get to in here, but bring that down to the, let's bring that, let me edit this here. Okay, top 5. Okay, and that may be your pillars right there. As your top 5 real issues of a company, this may be exactly what Barbara stands for. Drill it down. Getting it down on paper or this way is a gigantic start. Now we got to dig it. And you got to spend some introspective time, not a lot, no more than a couple of days. Kind of journaling a little bit and diagramming what those issues are, and they should be pretty easy for you because you've done it for years. Maybe what you ought to do is just write issue after issue. Just spend 30 minutes writing down what are the top issues you've dealt with. Go through your mind over the past 20 plus years of companies you've dealt with, and what was the number 1 issue, number 2 issue for each of those companies. Write. Just keep writing. And then when you're done writing, when you're finally tired, your arm's going to kill you, or your fingers are, if you're typing it in, which is what I would tend to do, then stop. Go grab yourself a cup of tea or something, and then go back and put them into categories, and put them in and see if you can categorize them into maybe 5, maximum 6 categories for what is going on there, what those things were. That then becomes your pillars for what you do.
Right. Makes sense.
And then each of those pillars becomes an area of expertise that you can run a white paper on, or a brown paper, or whatever. Each of those becomes a webinar. Each of those becomes multiple videos, articles, and so on. Because what you're going to do is you're going to limit your conversation to those 5 or 6 areas. Period. Nothing else. Because those are the areas that you want to focus on, that you've seen as being the biggest hot points for them. Now, each of those can be dunked down. So your top 5 could then be 10 sub areas. And yes, you could do 5 workshops, and maybe the workshop is a 2-day piece where you take senior executives through whatever, and maybe that's $1,000 or $2,000 a piece for a 2-day, whether you do it live or whether you do it virtually. I do a lot of virtual stuff because I don't want to start messing with hotels and have people have to lose all the time traveling. So you could do a live stream event where you're taking people through, coaching and guiding them into what those, so whatever those issues are. So if issue number 1 is, customer service, the customer service department sucks. Okay. If that's the case, then you spend 2 days going through the basic challenge that customer service things have, and bring in the head of support or service into that conversation. Now that may not work. That may work. It may not work. You'll know better, but you can sell that too, in addition to the high level coaching piece. But the CEO wants to be in a CEO group. They want that level of exclusivity and ego.
Absolutely.
They just do. They're not going to be in a peon group, and they're not going to come to your 2-day workshop. They will come to a CEO retreat, and mastermind or whatever, or a conclave, if you will. Use a good word for that. They will come to that all day long, because that's for CEOs, and I'm a CEO. Damn it, I should be there. Plain and simple. Because that's their ego speaking, and feed them. And then you can go kick their ass when they're in CEO. You can't kick a CEO's ass if you got a vice president in the room. It ain't going to happen. Unless you get a unique CEO that that's really committed, that isn't sitting on ego. But most of these CEOs have egos, right? So
absolutely.
So CEO to CEO, man, and if you present it as, we will meet 3 times a year, 4 times a year, whatever it is, it's 2 days. We're in the mountains somewhere, or we're somewhere away where we're just going to get stuff done so they can sell it to the board. You're not taking them to Vegas. but take them to some executive retreat kind of area that is hopefully nice, because you do want to give them something that's rewarding for them. But it's not a golf outing. It's 2 days of Barbara kicking ass, and or nicely kicking ass. Those are the ways that you'll generate your sales, and you'll do it well. I mean, you'll do it well. Will it happen fast? Not necessarily. It could. It totally could. Jumping in this way. And in terms of going out and making calls to them and so on, I'd rather them come to you. You make cold calls to them, then what you're doing is you're putting the shoe on the other foot. Better that they're actually coming into you because you have something to give them. So give them something. Have them come in for a free analysis or this or that. Again, get them in a pain and give them a tease for the solution. And it's just one solution. It is not the 5 ways that you can improve. No, it's the number one way. And get to know that number one way immediately.
Right.
So, and this is by the way, this is Internet Marketing 101. All right. Well, maybe not 101. Lead magnet is 101, but sophisticated lead magnet, which is what I'm talking about here, is further advanced. Most people will say, here's our 5-part e-course. Bullshit. Nobody's going to go through the 5-part e-course anymore. Those put people to sleep. And they don't, and there's too much time to digest it. They're not going to open the second or third one. It just doesn't work that way. We're all busy, and the CEOs are incredibly busy. And by the way, their email probably opened by the receptionist, or their executive assistant. Excuse me. So that being said, that's not going to work. But giving them the number one thing to get on the next page, for example, automatically they'll open it because it's going to be it's a 2-minute your 2-minute answer. And whether it's a 113 second video that you created, or it's just one giant paragraph that solves the problem for them right then and there. And by the way, it's an overview solution. It's not, fire personnel director. It is an overview solution. So in a very small way, this in a nutshell, for example, this is what Ed Pagan did with his Double Your Dating brand. His lead magnet was he asked the guys, because he was in the dating niche, how do you tell if she's ready to be kissed? Plain and simple. Now every guy wants to know that, so you'll adjust that for your business, and then you click to continue, and I don't even think there was an opt-in at that point, but you click to continue, and the answer was one paragraph. Very simple, and it was a valid answer. He said, at the end of the night, before you say goodnight to her, lean in a little bit. If she does not lean back or leans into you, she's ready. If she leans back, she's not ready. You give her a handshake and get out of there. Okay, but if she leans in, you're good to go, babe. And that's and it's all NLP 101. But most guys aren't aware of that. When they're standing at the door saying goodbye, they're like freaking out. They're all in their head and they don't get it. And guys go, wow, that's really cool. What else has he got? And the next thing you know, you've upsold for $300 worth of his stuff. And I know that because I did it. I went through his funnel, and it was like really easy to do. So for you, what's the number one problem that these real issues here, the top 5? Pick one. And by the way, you may do 5 of those. The number one way that personnel departments are screwed up. The number one way that manufacturing is screwed up. The number one way that your organization or organizational training is screwed up, or whatever, or the company is losing thousands of dollars. Click here to continue. Bam. And then you got the white paper that they'll want.
Right.
All those things lead to credibility for you because you positioned yourself as the queen of getting shit done. And mind you, you will have guys that will not join a female run mastermind. We know that, so perfect client is not
absolutely, yeah.
Perfect client is not a sexist pick, but by the way, you could knit yourself to women CEOs. You could. Okay.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
It's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. It may not be a good idea, and it may be a good idea. Women also hate women. Women also hate women. So it's you guys are weird. But then again, I am too. So we all have that strangeness. But if you did women to women, cool. But again, that might not be the right thing for you. That's something you gotta play with. Because the answer is I don't know, and I wouldn't want you to pin yourself into a place where there's a challenge. So you might want to test that. I mean, there's women that have been. I mean, for example, Sheryl Sandborn women seem to love Sheryl Sandborn, Ms. Facebook, and she wrote the book and all this sort of thing. So I think everybody would
Right.
love to learn from her. So position yourself in that kind of standpoint. You can do a book for sure, and again, if you wrote the book, it's like, yeah, I got a published book, bam, and it's available on Amazon, and not just Kindle. In your case, it's got to be real books sold on Amazon, and and you can have it published on demand because Amazon has a published on demand service. So
Right.
so bam, that's instant credibility for you. But I would start, and by the way, that could easily be a compilation of your articles and your white papers. So it doesn't mean that you have to write a giant book and then write this and then write that. It could, it's all repurposing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. All right. So now, looking at what we're looking, let's kind of land the plane. What's your impression of what we've covered so far?
I think it's outstanding. I've gotten so many good ideas, and I appreciate all the feedback. So I think, wow, it's really a blueprint.
Well, I'm going to give you a copy of this. Whether if you want it,
Thank you.
if you want it in the DIA format, I can give it to you in the DIA format, so you can just download DIA and edit it if you like, or I can just get it into a PDF. So whatever you prefer.
Probably a PDF.
Okay, so I'll get it to you in a PDF. What I will do,
Okay.
what I will do though is I will post it in the members area for you guys, both in the DIA format and in PDF, so that you guys can have it and refer to it. But and again, this is not what I would call the most organized thing in the world, but this is really a brain dump for you guys to start using and playing with. These areas here have yet to be nailed down. Barbara's got a bunch of work to do. But I would say if this is the area that Sheila got us to focus on, or you to focus on, then let's elaborate on this. Follow what I suggested to you of journaling it out without thinking. Don't think, just write, or type, and then categorize,
Right.
and you'll find your top 5 or 6 that you'll be able to focus on. I mean, that's really going to be the biggest thing for you, and for all of you, is to lay that out, and go from there. Okay, giant opportunity for you to do, and then you can design this. As a member of Trailblazers, what we do is we sit down every single week. We go through what are your opportunities, what are your challenges, where can we grow with this. That's the cool thing about Trailblazers as a group. And Trailblazers is an invitation only group, just like your coaching and mastermind is as an invitation only group, and this is only sold through an interview, only sold through, because you got to make sure, first of all, that the people that come into this, first of all, meet perfect client, but secondly, they got to come in and they've got to fit with everybody else. I can tell you that today, for example, what we're doing with you is dramatically different than what most people are used to seeing. They're not in a big business mindset. And a lot of folks today bailed from our discussion. They didn't see how they could do it for their business, which is to be very short sighted.
Right.
Because what we've done here is the same fundamental that we would do if we were going to be selling a $1,000 a month coaching package or $500 a month coaching package. The exact same thing. This marketing plan is my marketing plan, with some exceptions. This marketing plan should be everybody's marketing plan with some notable exceptions, for your own industry. All this stuff is exactly the same for everybody. It just is different on specifics. The format's exactly the same structure. It's exactly the same structure. You got to identify what the problems are. You got to create a solution for it, and you got to look for a way. If we're going to create a lifestyle totalpreneur business, we got to look for a way that is not going to have you trading time for money. Plain and simple. I would never do coaching. Would never do coaching ever, for a variety of reasons. One of which, when we talk about inner game, I didn't sense my value. How stupid is that? But we all as entrepreneurs have that imposter thing going on. That's like, I'm not worthy. Well, bullshit. You are worthy. And that's the lie we tell ourselves, which is why I now expose it to all of you. But at the end of the day, we're all very much the same, right? So that's fundamental. But trading time, I didn't want to do consulting or coaching because I didn't want to commit my time. I love what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm thrilled to pieces. It's great. Will I do one-on-one? Absolutely not. If someone wanted to do one-on-one with me, they would pay me a lot of money, because I don't want to trade time dollars. You know, if I've got 500 members of Trailblazer, for example, and we don't have 500 yet, but we will, and they're paying right now. Trailblazer is at $250. Actually, it's $2,500 a year. It's actually a course now. Trailblazer is actually a course, not really a membership, but people can pay it at the rate of $250 a month. Okay, that's worth my time. That's worth my time at 2 hours a week, and getting up at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? Because so for you, getting up and doing that, that call is worth it. And if you were doing one-on-one time for those guys at $25,000 a year, yeah, you give them one-on-one time. People that are members, people that are members of Excalibur, which is right now $15,000 a year, they get one-on-one calls with me too. I forget how often they get it, but they get one-on-one. They get one-on-one time with me also, and that's fine. I don't for $15,000 a year. I'm fine with giving them one-on-one. By the way, it's enjoyable for me. That's not the point. The point is that if I got 40 clients and I've got to give them an hour a month, that's 40 hours. That's a full week of my life I'm giving away. Now, that's a lot of time, and that's not my lifestyle that I want.
Right.
So for you guys, as you're building your business, you got the lifestyle that you want to have. To do this business that you were looking at right up here, 4 weeks or 6 weeks at $1,500 a day, you got to work your ass off for this. I mean, you do. That's another job, and that is not retirement at all. That's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding. That's what you've done, and that's what you're used to doing, right? But that does not make you rich. If your goal is at $300,000 a year, and here we're at $5,000, you're banking a couple $100,000 a year into your retirement plan, and you never have to worry about money again very, very shortly. And you're working part time because you got these guys that are doing all the heavy lifting for you. Bam.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You got a completely replicatable business. And screw this online BS of $7 or $37 software, or an ebook. If you have the passion for writing something, that's great, but scale it up to the larger company so it does bring you in this perfect client. Plain and simple.
Great.
Scale it up to that. Now, if you want to have a WSO just because you want to have a WSO, which already know my position on that, then still scale it for your perfect client. You might have someone within the company that gives it to a CEO and says, I just found this thing is really great. You need to check this stuff out, and bring somebody in that way. You don't need a lot of people coming in. If it generates you one person here, it's worth it. So
right.
It's a long shot, right? But the list is worthless to you, because the people that are on that list now. See, here's what'll happen if you do the WSO. So let's say you did well and you sold 1,000 units, okay, and you could sell a lot more than 1,000 units, but let's say you sold 1,000 units. So now you got 1,000 buyers on your list at whatever the price point is, but it's not $3,000, right? Now, my concern is that you're like, oh, I now have a list of buyers. I should do something with that list of buyers. So now your focus is, I got a list of buyers of a whatever product, not I got a CEO that I got to do something for here in LinkedIn, which will bring me this, or a $200 or $500 workshop with the middle level management I could sell, which brings me back to these guys.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I want you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused. Running into this box is the key to your business right here, right there. And that box will grow. That box should totally grow. That's where things get generated. And if you stay focused here, you'll get more creative at finding new ways to play. And you could easily bring them into hey, listen, just come into a free strategy session, or we're doing a strategy call tomorrow. Come on in. Bam, done. But you got to have a high level piece, because that's where the credibility is. If you had anything that was inexpensive, you would not, think about it this way. Rolls-Royce, from what I understand, from what I have heard, is built on the same frame or chassis as the BMW 5 Series, or maybe this is 7, whatever. So you're talking about a $300,000 car versus a $100,000 car, or $57,000, whatever the hell it is. It's the same damn car. All they did was put on a different looking body. So you're doing a mastermind It's the same process. It's the same process. Whether you have somebody in that, that's a high level or low level person, but you want that high level person. You want this perfect client. We got to keep remembering that. They will bring in more client. They will bring in more client. They will bring in more client to you. They will bring in more clients to you. So the bigger dollars, the bigger dollars are there. The challenges for most entrepreneurs is that we sometimes think too small and don't give ourselves the credit that we are worthy of this. But I got to tell you, people will pay it. And when you got something good to give, what I have discovered, and you'll be seeing more and more of these testimonials coming in from me, is when we do our hour long free strategy sessions. Well, actually, I'll just ask you, Barbara. When we did the strategy session for you, what were your takeaways from that strategy session? What value did that have for you?
Oh, it had tremendous value. It really focused things for me. It really got me to thinking, out of the proverbial box, and really consider a lot of different ideas or thoughts that maybe I thought I wasn't capable of doing, or didn't feel I had the wherewithal to do. So it really helped.
Awesome. You see, and thank you. So those testimonials mean a ton. So when you start doing an interview close, and your interview and your interview close is going to be a strategy session. It's let's talk about your company and take them through that. That you can charge anything you want, because the value of that is gigantic. I mean, what we just created for you here in the space of just short 2 hours is a $500,000+ a year business, probably close to a $700,000 business, if not more, and definitely more over the years, because this will grow. Okay, this will totally grow. So the options for you are gigantous, and the value of that is huge. The value of that is absolutely huge. So if we created for you, let me put it this way: is it worth $25,000 for you to get the plan for a $500,000 a year business? Duh. Now,
absolutely.
I'm not charging that, of course. And people that join Trailblazer, they're joining Trailblazer $2,500 a year, and they're getting, this opportunity, on a regular basis. That's what the value the proposition really is, right? So
absolutely.
So for you, the value proposition is, hey, Mr. CEO, for what are we saying here? For $2,500 a month, you can be part of this group, and you're going to get $1 million worth of value, or whatever. What you bring to the table, and I know what to bring to the table now, right? So you can say, yeah, come join. It's $2,500 a month. It's payable annually at the rate of $25,000 a year. Stroke the pen. Let's get her done. I want it today. I want the monthly. I want today. But and what you can say is, I would do it that way, and then at the end, or save in $25,000 a year. But at the end of the day, the value you're going to get is, we're going to increase your position by $1 million or $2 million a year, or whatever that is. Because think about it this way: a startup is going to be really hard to fix because you have nothing to leverage. But if you do a 1% change on a $10 million company, how much have you increased that company's value? A 1% change is thousands of dollars on a $10 million company, right? Think about it. What is that? $100,000 already? So so we do a 1% change. It means that you've already increased your your return on investment is 400% on your investment here right now. We just gave you a 1% change, but it's easy to do 1% change. Shit, that's only $100,000 more. If you took a $10 million company, right? It's nothing. You can do that in your sleep. You can be average and inferior, for heaven's sakes, and do that. You can read Management 101 and go in and do that. But you've got far more skills than that. You'll probably take this $10 million business or $50 million business, and if you increase them by 10%, that's $5 million or $1 million for these guys, and you're charging them $25,000. Duh. It's like, are you an idiot? Why wouldn't you sign up for this thing?
Absolutely.
Right? That's the power.
I love it. Yeah.
That's the power position. I'm pounding the table, by the way. You should see my body language. That's the power position that you're in. Every single one of you. Every single one of you is there. Every single one of you is there. So, that's the beauty of that. You can all do that once you know what your value add is. And by the way, if you can take the testimonials, your social proof, and have each one of those clients
Mm-hmm.
translate that into something economic that, Barbara took us from, $1 million a year to $6 million a year. And oh my God, it was amazing. That's
Right.
that's what you want to do in the case study. So it's quantifiable. And then your pitch is really simple. Listen, I've only got 20 slots open. All right. And what we're going to do is $25,000 a year. And here's the bottom line. My average client, and you can document average client based on the testimonials that you're going to get, has increased their business, by $1 million a year or whatever the hell it is. So based on that, at $25,000 a year, we're looking at this thing being basically a quarter of a percent of what our increase is worth. Would you be willing to pay a quarter of a percent what your increase is worth to build your business? Hello.
Mm-hmm. Right. Really.
You're reducing it to the ridiculous is what you're doing, and that's going to be huge. That's going to be absolutely huge. I mean, what I need to start doing in my business is I need to take the strategy sessions that we're doing and saying, what was the value of that strategy session to you for your business? What is that worth to you in annual revenue? And have that put in the testimonial, have that put in the testimonials, which I by the way I should ask you to do. And then it's real simple. Come join Trailblazers. Trailblazers is $2,500 a year. And gee whiz, we just helped somebody generate a $700,000 a year business. Bam, done.
Absolutely.
Are you
Yeah.
are you an idiot? Find that money. And if you want to finance it, not a problem. It's $250 a month. Today, it's going up. It'll be $500 a month within the next few months. It will be, because it's totally worth it. So that's your pitch. And so you can use it for $25,000 a year. I can use it for $2,500 a year for that program, because I'm looking at a smaller company base, right?
Right. Sure.
Every single one of you can do that. So we've filled up 2 solid hours with this.
Yes, it's been terrific, Ken. It really has, and I have to get those testimonials to you. And when you send me the PDF, can you also give me? I don't have the login information for the membership, and also where I can send the testimonials.
Sure, absolutely, no problem. I'll get that all to you.
Okay.
And for you guys, I've seen you guys came in late. I saw Graham coming late, and I saw Tasha coming in late. Watch the replay. This will be great for you guys. This will be really great for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can't thank you enough.
Hey, it is my pleasure. Listen, Pathfinders. I love Pathfinders, because Pathfinders are really people on the way to Trailblazer. Trailblazers are they're my kids. You're the guys I really want to build. And by the way, as you grow, I invite all of my Trailblazers to come into the Pathfinder calls to do just like Sheila did. To actually coach each other.
Yeah, she gave some wonderful advice. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's the kind of thing that you'll be able to do as a Trailblazer as well. So that's the cool thing. So for those of you that have not yet joined Trailblazers, basic information on that is at totalpreneur.com/join. Totalpreneur.com/join. I encourage you to do that. At least take a look at what it is. And then there may be a link on that page to set up a strategy session with me. If not, it's totalpreneur.com/ I'll put it in the chat. I'm typing it in right now, and I can't type and talk at the same time. I'm spelling it real quickly. It's totalpreneur.com/make-and-appointment. I'm going to make that easier in the future. But anyway, whoops, and I put that unfortunately the wrong way. I put it into your question, Tasha. But in any event, we do that by invitation only. And there's people that I invite, there's people that I don't. There's people that I feel are coachable, and there's people that will never listen. And there's people that are fun to hang around, that will be great people to inspire others. And there's those that not so much. So those we want the perfect client in that group, and we've done pretty well at setting that up. So anyway, you guys, thank you for joining me today. I am looking forward to seeing you guys next week at another Pathfinder session. I encourage you to invite your friends to join us. Pathfinder is open to everybody, for sure. Although the understanding that our objective is to teach Trailblazers and up to Excalibur. Because at the end of the day, we want you guys to ascend to building your own $10 to $50 million company, or whatever you desire. Because at the end of the day, it's really all about giving you that lifestyle of awesomeness. So, Barbara, I'll get this all to you. It'll take me a day or so to do that.
No problem.
Okay,
And
but
thanks again. That was absolutely wonderful.
hey, it is totally my pleasure. I look forward to hearing more about your success, and we'll see you next week in Trailblazers. So thanks so much.
Okay.
Everybody, thank you all.
Okay, thank
you
you.
guys are awesome. Bye all.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
What is she doing? What is she doing? I didn't reschedule for this time.